So I got to play Madden 26 early. Shout out to EA. Shout out to the EA devs that gave me a code. Let me get the early access. I hopped on the Madden 26 beta. I posted a post to let people know if y'all had any questions. And I also said I would tap in and let y'all know how I feel about the beta. Anything I noticed. You know, just a little bit about the gameplay, new features, everything like that. So we're just going to sit back, chop it up, and talk about a little bit of that. First of all, I want to talk about the gameplay. A lot of people was asking me, does the gameplay feel the same? I'm going to say no, I don't feel like the gameplay is the same. I feel like the gameplay is different. This is definitely a different game than Madden 25 for surely. I feel like, you know, there's a little bit of more speed in it, a little more speed boost. But I feel like you get sticky with the left stick a little bit more so than the right stick. But the gameplay is definitely different. And if I had to describe it, I say it feels a little more stiffer. And that's not a bad thing, because I feel like in 25 you could kind of, you know, get a little loose, get a little arcadey. But I feel like in 26 is definitely a little more stiffer. You know, the tackling is better. The players are moving a little better. The players are moving a little more compact, a little more stiff. If stiff is the right word, that's the way I would like describe it. You know what I mean? I'm a guy who's played over 2,000 hours of Madden. So, you know, I got my hours up. I can definitely tell y'all the difference, but there's definitely new catching animations. Like the catching animations are fresher, they're newer, they're cleaner. There's definitely a whole lot of new animations in the game. I will say that there's definitely a lot more animations. But like I said, the left stick work is going to be important this year. You got to get sticky with the left stick. You know, they got the new QB feature where you can scramble with the QB in the backfield and juke. You know, I was checking that out, trying to see how that was. But, you know, it's not easy as it looks to scramble with the QB. I'll say that. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be a little glitchy, but it's definitely not that glitchy. The D-line is definitely pursuing scramblers in the backfield. They're keeping up with them. So it's not going to be that easy to just roll out, spam rollouts, get glitchy rollouts, especially if you got the QB contain on. The QB contain definitely plays a lot better. But, you know, I was really worried about the QB rollouts, you know, with the juke in the backfield. But I was rolling out with Lamar. I was trying it with Kyler Murray. It wasn't that crazy. And you kind of got to like have some space to get started before you start running with the QB. You can't just like take off with the QB and sprint, scramble, and get loose. It kind of takes a little minute to get it started, to get it, you know, get it going. But, you know, I like the QB scrambles. They're definitely clean and everything like that. Another big thing is the QBs aren't fumbling like they were in Madden 25, which is definitely big because I feel like a lot of QBs scramble in the game now. A lot of QBs get loose. A lot of QBs get sticky. But they kind of made him fumble a lot in 25. It was kind of annoying. Like you would run with Lamar, you would run with any sticky QB, and I feel like they would just fumble a lot, you know, off little hits, not even crazy hit sticks or boom sticks. They was fumbling just off of like regular, you know, regular tackles. But it seems like they buffed out a lot. I was playing a lot of online head-to-head, and a lot of players were definitely like holding on to the ball when I was boom sticking them even, and when I was regular tackling them. I didn't really see too many fumbles, everything like that. As far as like the movement and the speed, when they hyped up that whole 95, 98 speed, fast players will feel different than 90s and 89s, everything like that. That's definitely real. I don't know if they call that the threshold or whatever, but you feel the difference with like a Tyreek Hill or a JMO or a Worthy, Gibbs bursting out the backfield, Saquon Barkley bursting out the backfield. You could definitely feel the difference in their speed and their boost. And I think that's cool. I don't mind that at all. You know what I mean? You got to have your fast corners, your fast safeties. You got to have fast people in to handle the fast people. It's definitely not like before where, you know, you had 89s keeping up with 95 pluses and 90s and everything like that. So I definitely appreciate, you know, the boost on the speed and everything like that. It definitely made a difference. Another thing I'll say was better is the screens got better in Madden 26. You know, sometimes on the screens, players will get hung up behind the offensive line. They'll kind of get stuck behind people that were blocking. I will say, like, you know, that's definitely an improvement. Like, a lot of these players aren't really getting stuck behind the screens, everything like that. And I like, you know, pop a screen in on certain third and short situations, third and long situations, pop a screen in. So it's good to see that, like, the screens were, you know, boosted and adjusted and everything like that. The wear and tear is very cool. One thing I noticed about the wear and tear is after you take a couple big hits, you know what I mean? You could definitely see, like, your quarterback will have, you know, like a shoulder wear and tear, like his medium accuracy will go down, deep accuracy will go down. And that's cool though, because, you know, you can't just keep going ham with the QBs and spamming them and everything like that. But that was good to see though too, also because you could tell when they were, you know, banged up or had wear and tear, because the deep balls were a little inaccurate, the medium balls were a little accurate, the accuracy wasn't as good as when they were full strength, as when they was fully healthy and everything like that. So definitely see some effects of wear and tear in Madden 26. So it's good to see that wear and tear is actually, you know, having an effect on the QBs and having an effect on the running backs and the players and everything like that. The stunts is definitely a new feature of the gameplay. I was worried that you couldn't do the custom stunts, but you can definitely do custom stunts. There's like 4 different options you could change the D line to when you want to do the stunts. So I think that's a cool feature. It's definitely going to get a little glitchy. Definitely going to get a little hot when you blitzing, you know, mixed out with some loot blitzes, mixed out with some linebacker blitzes, some corner blitzes. It's definitely going to get a little mixy, but you could definitely customize the stunt blitzes. Like I said, there's 4 different options. So, you know, you get to pick and choose like what you want to do with the stunt blitzes and everything like that. So I definitely think stunt blitzing is going to be, you know, a big feature. There's plays that have stunt blitzes already in them, but if you want to customize your D-line to do specific stunts, you can definitely do that. The abilities is another thing I'll say is different. Like they said, the abilities will be 50% this year, so 50-50. Sometimes they might light up, sometimes they might not, which I think is cool too, because just because you have an ability don't mean it's going to work every time. But I definitely seen that on some of the abilities, you know, as far as KOs and everything like that. They weren't activating all the time, but I definitely think that's very interesting and very cool, because sometimes it seemed like the abilities was a little too overpowered, but it's good to see they got a little bit of balance and everything like that. Next, I kind of want to talk about the presentation just to let y'all know what's different in 26 from 25. I definitely say they got the new score bugs in there. Definitely got like new score bugs at the bottom, and there's a couple different ones. So it's good to see new score bugs just for different games like Monday night, Thursday night, you know, Sunday games, everything like that. I know a lot of people were kind of picky on them. They didn't really like them, but, you know, I like the new score bugs. Any updates to, like, you know, the way the game looks, the way the presentation looks, I'm always going to key in on and take a look at and, you know, make sure, you know, that I like it and, you know, harp on that, because I really like to see the presentation turn up a little bit. There's definitely some new sideline animations, like players talking to coaches, players tapping in with coaches after the play, players logging in with the coaches. You know what I mean? I've definitely seen a couple new like sideline animations, you know, pregame animations, middle of the game animations, stuff like that. So that's definitely something I think was a huge plus. Another thing, animations wise, is the kickers. They kind of had their own swag. Like when they come out to kick a field goal, or, you know, they come out to punt and everything, they're not just coming out and like standing in a kicker stance. They kind of actually line up, and when they run up to kick the ball, it looks a little different. It has a little smooth swagger to it. Even the catchers too, the holders that, you know, catch the ball before the kickers kick it off, they kind of have their own swag too. Like they don't just like put their finger on it. You know, they actually kind of catch the ball, put it down, and, you know, it has like a flow. So the kickers and the holders for like the extra points and everything, they kind of have their own flow. So I think that that's really cool that they added, you know, a vibe like that for the kickers and the holders. I know in the trailer they were saying like the snow and the rain and everything like that was going to be kind of foggy, but I played a snow game and it really didn't look too crazy. Like it didn't really look too bad. The snow wasn't foggy. You know, when I played out there, I definitely could see my wide receivers. It wasn't as crazy as it was in the trailer. Maybe they'll add that in the full version. Like I said, this is the beta, so everything's not going to be in there. All the new features, all the new rosters, you know what I mean, the overalls, the players roster, the players overalls, they're not going to be accurate, but the snow definitely wasn't as crazy as they made it out to be in the trailer. But like I said, I don't know if they'll add that, or if that's going to be a feature that's in there later. Another thing I'll say about the presentation is the lighting is better in the day games. The lighting looks awesome. The lighting looks better in the night games. So I think they kind of like cleaned up the lighting and got the lighting looking better. I like the way the lighting was on the older Maddens, like Madden 11, you know, like the classic PS3 Maddens, the PS4 Maddens. I think the lighting was always crispy and clean on that, but I think they tapped back in on the lighting on 26 and cleaned that up, got it looking a little bit better for the night games, day games, you know, evening game. Next, I want to tap in on Superstar mode. I had a lot of people, you know, in the comments asking me about Superstar mode, what's new. It's definitely a new storyline. Everything pretty much still looks the same as far as, you know, your superstar for superstar mode, your character and everything. The hairstyles, few new hairstyles, but we do not have hair hanging out the back of the helmet. Sorry to report that to y'all. I know a lot of y'all was wondering if we was gonna have long hair coming out the helmets for the superstars. EA did not fix that. That's something that was on my wish list. I made a couple videos about that, begging EA, please put some hair out the back of the helmet for white characters, black characters. It don't matter. just get some hair hanging out the helmet for our superstars. But don't seem like they fixed that. So I guess it's another year in superstar mode without hair coming out the back of the helmet. So it is what it is. But superstar mode definitely looks lit. The combat and everything still looks the same. Nothing really changed, like the workouts, the 40-yard dash. Everything was kind of still the same on that. As far as the new features go, I want to tap in. I want to let y'all know that the stems are definitely, like one of the greatest features that Madden added to the game. I'll tell y'all that much. The stems is definitely one of the best features Madden added to the game. You can customize these stems. You can put curls, bring them down, drag them up. Your deep zones, you could drag them back deeper. You could drag your hooks down, bring your hook curls down. Whatever you want to do, you can customize those, put those wherever you want. I really think that's something cool and awesome that they added to the game. It's definitely something that a lot of people are going to have to get used to, because with the stems, you can get really creative. You know what I mean? And you can put them wherever you want. And that'll definitely help you out with kind of like some of the drags and the slants and the corner routes and everything like that. There's definitely new coach adjustments. One thing I will say is missing in the coach adjustments is there's no match or man align, base align, stuff like that. But there's definitely no base align. That's definitely a huge L, as far as, setting up your defense, because a lot of people were seam hunting in 25. That's why a lot of people, was on base align, because they wanted to protect seams. A lot of people were spamming seams in 25, but that's definitely something I'll say was a huge L, that there's no base align. But we'll have to figure it out. I'm sure players will tap in. We'll figure something out in the Madden community on how to adjust that. They didn't have that in college football 25 as well. So that's something that we had to adapt to and adjust to. But it's all good. I'm sure we'll figure it out. I definitely seen a lot of overthrown balls. I probably played like 10 online ranked games. And it wasn't just the wear and tear that was causing those overthrown balls. The players were just kind of overthrowing them on their own. And I don't really say they're really just overthrown, but they were kind of going over the head. I don't know if my settings were correct, because it was the beta. I may not have tapped in and put, the placement and accuracy on like it was supposed to be. But there's definitely a lot of balls flying over players' heads, when I'm not under pressure. Like I said, I don't know if that's because of the wear and tear or something like that, but it was definitely seeing a lot of balls off the mark. I don't know if that also could be, overalls, like some of the QBs overalls aren't that high, but that's definitely something that I noticed a lot on the beta, but it's all good. Like I mentioned, I played a lot of online head-to-head. There's definitely cheese for sure as far as like loot blitzes go and disengages, of course. I was hoping they would fix that, but they have a new feature where you can unmark a defender. You can kind of make somebody on your offensive line not block a specific D lineman or a blitzer. We'll have to see how that works out. It's kind of a gamble. If you don't want them to block a D lineman, they'll pop off the line and kind of block somebody else. So maybe that'll help prevent some of these cheese blitzes, some of these meta blitzes, some of these disengages. But that's definitely something that I noticed was, these people on the D line kind of getting through off of disengages. The loot blitz wasn't as strong as it was in 25. I ran the loot blitz a few times just to see if it would get through. It got through sometimes, but it kind of seems like the offensive line got a buff. You know what I mean? They said that they had new offensive line steering and everything like that. So it kind of seemed like the offensive line was tapped in and making, a few better adjustments to like loot blitzes and disengages. But we'll have to see. I'm pretty sure through not week one, but through month one, we'll see some more blitzes coming out. I'm pretty sure some people will turn those stunt blitzes up and everything like that and figure some type of glitches out and everything like that. But we'll have to see. And if there is anything like that, I'm pretty sure EA will make an adjustment. Hopefully they do, because, stunts is definitely a new feature in here. So it could get a little too cheesy. It could get a little too glitchy, but we don't want that to be something that's, a little overpowered and everything like that. And then lastly, I opened up my chat and my Discord and, to some questions that you guys had about the game. So I just picked out a few of the questions that I seen that were interesting and maybe I didn't cover in the video to answer some of y'all questions and let y'all know what I seen, what I noticed. Somebody asked, was the game faster or slower? I'll say it's a little more slower. Like I said, the players are a little stickier or stiffer. You could definitely tell the difference, like I said, between like those 98 speed people that got fast speed, and stuff like that, you could definitely tell the difference between faster players and slower players. So I will say that it's a little bit faster in that sense, but the game doesn't feel any faster. It doesn't feel like college. It doesn't feel arcadey. It's definitely still, like more realistic, and you could tell the difference between college football and Madden. You could tell the difference between the two games. It's not as arcadey. Like I said, the tackling is definitely improved, especially like the square tackling, not just the hit sticks, but the square tackling is definitely better. I really like the square tackling. I say the game's definitely faster, but it's still slow in comparison to college football 26. Somebody asked me about the franchise. We're just going to have to wait for the deep dive, the franchise deep dive. There wasn't really anything about franchise mode in the beta. You couldn't play franchise, and I guess that's because they're probably going to wait until they do a deep dive, so there's no leaked information or no leaked news. Somebody asked, was it better than Madden 25? I would say yes, in a sense that, like I said, the animations are better. There's definitely new catching animations, better tackling. The boomstick doesn't seem as glitchy as it was in 25. So I would say definitely that the gameplay was better, especially with the stems, the stunts, everything like that. One thing that I did notice is that they said a new feature that was going to be added was guessing people's routes. So like if somebody was on a corner route, you would be able to click on your safety or your cornerback only in man coverage that was manned up to a receiver, and you'll be able to guess their route. Like if you think they're going to do a corner or you think they're going to do an in, out, post, whatever like that. If you do guess the wrong thing, there's definitely going to be a risk. But I was looking for that. I was, doing what they said inside of the gameplay huddle, or like I was doing everything they said to do in order to activate that, but I wasn't seeing it. So maybe it wasn't in the beta. But I'm very excited to see, how that works with, like the hot route guessing. And I was trying to see like what the penalties were on that. Like if I guessed the wrong route, like how bad is it if I guessed the wrong route? Like, are they going to play corner and sit on it, or, it's all good. We'll have to see that whenever they add that in Madden 26. Somebody else asked, are the linebackers jumping in the game? Like, are they jumping up in the air and picking off crazy stuff? I didn't really see too much of the linebackers jumping in the air, but they're still making plays. You know what I mean? Like, it was good this year that you didn't need lurker in order for your linebackers to, hop up and make a play, make a catch, make an interception. But I definitely got a couple user linebacker picks, playing with the Steel Boys. I had Pat Queen. He was definitely hopping up and, grabbing some picks, but he wasn't jumping in the air all crazy. Somebody else asked, is the D-line batting passes? Yes. I was playing with the Panthers, and I had some rushers coming off the edge, and 100%, there was definitely a couple batted balls off the D-line. The D-linemen were jumping in the air, putting two hands up, putting one hand up, swatting the ball down. So there's definitely some D-line batted passes. As far as accessories goes, there's definitely new helmets. There's definitely new face masks. I know a lot of people were wondering if you could do like the half sleeve with the shooter sleeve. Cannot do it. Maybe it'll be in the full version, but from the beta, I was editing the drip, and whenever you put the half sleeve on, if you put the shooter sleeve on, it would take the half sleeve back off. So they still didn't add that, and I think they need to add that because a lot of QBs definitely rock that swag, with the half sleeves up here and then a shooter sleeve on the bottom. So like Jackson Dart, Josh Allen, QBs like that. So that's something they definitely need to add. We'll see if they add that in the full version, but I definitely need them to add that because that's accurate swagger, that's accurate drip, that's accurate accessories. Definitely new cleats in the game. Lamar Jackson's cleats. And speaking of Lamar Jackson, his hair was coming out the helmet. Lamar rocked the braids. He kind of got the hair sticking out the helmet, so they did update that. With Lamar, Lamar Jackson having the hair out of the helmet. Compression. Like they had like compression leg sleeves on, compression pants that go all the way down to the socks. So you can still customize the socks, make them high, medium, low, everything like that. But some players do have the compression pants on their legs. So I think that was kind of cool that they had added that, because a lot of people do have compression, sleeves on their legs and compression pants on their legs. But I had a good time playing Madden for sure. I'm still going to keep playing the beta, testing everything out, just trying to see what's new, seeing what's good, seeing what's working, what's not working, what's glitchy. But if there's anything else y'all want to know, make sure y'all tap in with me. We definitely probably like 2 months away still from Madden 26. But I'm having fun on the beta, testing it out, enjoying it, trying new stuff, trying the stems, trying the stunt blitzes, trying everything out. So, I'll definitely tap in and check that out. Another thing I will say, too, is with the coach adjustments, too, you can put your corners where you want. You can put them towards the hash, towards the sideline, closer. You can pinch them. You can bring them in closer, like so they're closer to the D line. There's a lot of freaky stuff, a lot of customization you can do with the cornerbacks, with the safeties, everything like that. As far as the coach adjustments go, so that's definitely something we're gonna have to tap into. Like I said, we about 2 months out from this, and we'll keep tapping in and see what's going on. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the beta. If you got to play it, let me know how you feel about 26. If there's anything else y'all want to know, let me know. I can't put any gameplay up, post any gameplay because I don't want to get banned. Appreciate EA for, you know, sending me that beta code, let me play the game really. And y'all let me know how y'all feeling about Madden 26, man. We almost there, baby. Make sure y'all holler at me in the comments, man. Until next time, it's P World.